Hello, this is Mose Jacobs for the Borough Spoken Word in connection with our next session on the 13th of March, Wednesday, 13th of March, 2024. And I'm really delighted that our next guest, I'm delighted that our next guest will be Naser Swirki, if I pronounce your name right. I'm not delighted about the circumstances that brought us here in a way, but Naser is a documentary and fiction filmmaker, and also a scriptwriter, and he's many other things as well. And I know him from the marches in Skibbereen, the gatherings in Skibbereen, the weekly gatherings that have taken place there since November or the end of October. Of course, in the context of the genocide that is unfolding in Palestine. And Naser is one of the people who speaks there almost every week when he's there, and he always has something interesting to say. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's a bit lighter. As the time goes by, obviously, there is less and less reason to be lighter. And at the event, which will be a fundraiser, we'll also be talking about issues connected to Palestine. But he's also a person, obviously. And welcome, Naser, to this video. May I ask?
Thank you for having me.
Yes. May I ask? You are living in Ireland at the moment. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
And how long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Continuously.
Okay.
But I used to come and go for 10 years.
Okay. And
do you visiting?
Okay. And I know you don't want to really focus on the personal that much, but would you tell me where you're from? I mean, you're connected to Palestine, obviously. Would you say a little bit about your background, however much you want to talk about that?
Well, I was born in Gaza, 1961, and I spent my first 6 years there. And I think the audience now are familiar with the names of neighborhoods in Gaza, like Al-Shuja'iyya. So I am from Al-Shuja'iyya neighborhood, where most of the fights are going on there. And I witnessed the war, the Second War, 1967. I was like 6 years old, 5 to 6 years old. And I witnessed the war. And since that, I think I was like a traumatized child, you can say that. My father was a soldier in the Egyptian army, because at that time Egypt is controlling Gaza, and they recruited the locals to be in the army to defend Gaza or to defend Palestine. And then, as everyone knows, Egypt was defeated at that time, and my father faced hard times at that period, and he left to Jordan. And after 1 year, we followed him, and we joined the ranks of the refugees. We left a beautiful homeland behind us to live in a tent or in camps. And since that, I am now in my 60s. I didn't see a good day. It is like it stayed inside you. You know, I lived in a refugee camp, and they said, even if you leave the refugee, the camp, if you leave the camp will not leave you. It will stay there forever. And there in the Arab world, there is issues about identities and passports and nationalities. So as a refugee, I don't have a nationality or a passport. So I lived in Jordan as like in a residency state. And I thought that I wanted to leave the camp. I wanted to go out of the camp. I wanted to be free, and I thought that theater was the, when the ship is damaged and there are pieces of wood floating. So I thought that to my piece of wood that I was floating on and rescued me is theater. So that was I learned theater and I practiced it while I was in university. My first degree was engineering, and then that was in the Jordan University. And then while practicing theater, I was a theater person. I was writing, directing, and acting. And I acted for a long time. I acted in around 35 plays, and I wrote some and direct some. And then I learned filmmaking, because in the 90s, we thought that with the beginning of Al Jazeera news channel, that we will have documents for the first time, and we can do documentary films, and we can, express ourselves, and we can, democracy might come. And I started to do documentary films at that time, and I worked in with different TV channels, doing all sorts of documentary films, like political, social, controversial films, and also commercial, like industrial or touristic, etc. All kinds of. I established a production company in the 90s, and I worked for a long time there until Corona. And then I came to Ireland. I am married to an Irish woman, Patricia Edelstein, and from the name you can guess, the background from her surname. And then I came here, and I found I came during Corona, in fact, COVID-19, and I couldn't go back because of those things, and I left Jordan because I hate to see closures and soldiers, and I have complications, as you might conclude from my history towards the army and soldiers, and I'm scared of them. So they have like a security solutions for the COVID-19, ironically. Then I said I don't want to stay there. I came to Ireland, and then I used to visit Ireland from time to time, Christmas and those holidays, and because I was busy at my production company. Then I stayed. I discovered that yes, heaven is not. It didn't happen yet, but if it will happen here in Ireland. So I thought, oh, why not to live in the heaven for a while, for a change. And since that, I stayed here, and I find it's lovely to be here with the people here are so kind, they are moderate and respectable, and I like it here. And I started to do the things that I'd like to do, truly, because when you work for a long time in documentary, you work with stations and with clients, and they come back with their notes, and they become cleverer, when you do the film, and they give notes here and there. So I said, I had enough of that, and I want to do only the films that I like to do, and I want to write the words that I like and believe in. And since that, I started, because I have a lot of projects, I put them in papers, all my life. Every day I write in my life, every day, and I put them aside. And I thought that the time will come, and I will write those projects. Now I am writing screenplays for cinema, and I have a lot of projects. Maybe the coming 70 years will not be enough, to finish them. But I'm not now writing the last version of my film, the third version of my film, called The Seventh Door. And this name is coming from the old stories, like from Thousand Nights and Nights, and all those Arabic folkloric stories about the prince who married the poor lady, and he took her to the castle, like the heaven, and he said to her, "Look, there are like 7 doors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can open 6 doors, and you will enjoy everything inside. They are lovely, and you will have perfect time. But the 7th door, if you open it, that would be the end of our relationship. That will be the end of our life together." And that is the door that she wants to open. She wants to open the 7th door. And this is how my story starting from there, from the opening the 7th door. A woman, Arab woman, started to speak out. And because I have a lot of sisters, I'm coming from a big family, like we are 11 of us, and half of us are women, and my mother. So I want to understand how they feel, and how can I appreciate them more, and how can I understand them. And I started to research about this project. And so this is, that in my age now, I'd like to understand my sisters and my mother, and to appreciate them more. And this is why I am doing that project.
Well, it sounds fantastic. I immediately want to know the ending, but I think we have to wait for it. And
I think
thank you.
it would be like it ends. In fact, this is it, Mose. It's that any writer, he cannot, or she cannot write the first line of the story without knowing the end. So you start, writing the first sentence when you know the end of your story.
Okay.
And the end of my story, it ends in dancing, with on the beats of what's so-called in our world the Arab Spring, those demonstrations, and people are asking for freedom and democracy. And so
Arab
this is for
Spring.
my character. She's dancing on the crowds, gathering and shouting and screaming, and like what we are witnessing now here. And people wants change. People had enough of the systems around us. People had enough of those stupid leaders leading us. People had enough of humiliation, of occupation, of racism, of apartheid. We are tired out of that, and we want to scream, from the bottom of our heads, that should be stopped. And I think this is what people are doing now. It's not only about Palestine. No, it's not about slaughtering people or those atrocities or those horrible scenes that we are seeing. Killing 100 people, looking for a piece of bread, and killing
Flower,
them in
yeah.
hundreds, a flower or whatever, and children carrying saucepans or frying pans, or looking for food, and you kill them. And those scenes is exactly what the world doesn't want to see. This is, even Hitler, he didn't dare to do those or create those scenes. It's coming out from our smartphones and our personal, because like never before, the
Yeah.
social media is now
Do you think that is,
revealing the lies of the mainstream
yeah,
media.
do you think that is a reason for hope that everyone can see it? No, I mean, because one of the things I'm not sure how to discuss it exactly, but even if people see it, they give it different interpretations. Like, that's very clear from the manipulation by the Israeli government of the media and of the stories, but also personally, some people on the more towards the Israeli side would say, or I talked to a family member and she would be saying like, okay, but there is Hamas wants the caliphate. Like if you say they're destroying Gaza, then the other side of the story is yes, but Hamas wants to destroy us. It wants to establish a caliphate. It's like it's like kind of a it's if we don't destroy them, they will destroy us. That is in a way the stories in people's heads, like totally opposite stories. And that's part of it. And also I think the other part of it is that people are dehumanized. Like, in Israel, in education, Arabs have been dehumanized, Palestinians have been dehumanized, not as if they do not exist. I don't think that's the same on the other side, is it? Would you say that
Well,
there is a dehumanization dehumanization? I can't even pronounce it. Dehumanization on both sides. Like, I mean, to kill, to do that to small children, like the American congressman who says kill them all when somebody says, oh, but for small babies are being killed, kill them all. That's exactly what the Nazis said as well. You have to destroy the other's children, because otherwise they grow up and become your enemies, and then you have more and more enemies. So you start by killing them for your own safety. Is that relevant, that sort of thinking? And what can we do about it?
well, first, that is a multi-layered question.
It is.
But let's start with hope. I think hope for us Palestinians is the only option that we have, because what is the alternative? What is the opposite of the opposite of what they are doing now to us? But that's the only that is our only option. And hope, well, you might ask yourself, hope, and you see among those in the midst of all those scenes coming and horrifying the whole world, and they have hope. I said, yes, if you look at our history, it started. Palestine was and it is ours. There were no Zionists there, zero, and before 1916 or so. No one was there before coming from Russia and Poland and all of them. So the people who has the land, or who are committed or loyal to their land, and they don't let it go. They know that this is the source of hope. They know that this is where they can get hope, when they put their feet on the ground, on their mountains, looking at the sea, feeling the water goes into the water of the sea, the salt water going into their blood and moving here and there, and they become one with their homeland, and they have hope. And this is how this is why they are fighting. This is why they are defending. This is why they are against racism and colonialism and occupation and killing and massacres and apartheid and racism and all those horrible things. They started that because they have hope. If they don't have hope, they will go to everywhere, and they will leave everything behind them. But they didn't do that. Even generation after generation after generation, and they still have the same hope, and they will not let their homeland go away. That is their source of hope.
Mm.
For how, since the people, what this is what the propaganda now, what they are saying, horrible things that they are saying. They are saying that things started in the 7th of October. Do you condemn the 7th of October? And then do you condemn Hamas? And do you whatever? And it didn't start there. It starts a long time ago. And, long time ago. And we know how they steal the land and what are their means. And now they cannot see us equal to them. They are discriminating against us all the time. We are the indigenous people of the land, and we are, there is no rights for us. They don't see us equal to them. We are 15 million people, and and we don't have equal rights. We don't have our nationality. We don't have the voting. We can't travel. We can't. Look at Gaza. Gaza now. What do you think about the people of Gaza? They were immigrated from more than 700 villages, from Palestine, and they were accumulated in 1% of Palestine, and they created. The Israelis created the biggest camp on the face of the earth. 2.3 million people are there. The density is like 7,000 per kilometer. Imagine that. And by the way, all the Israelis are now living nearly the density of their population is like 5% of the land, and then it's empty. There are kibbutzim and settlements, which is, by the way, those villages that the people that they went throughout that wall from, they went to their villages. It's a walking distance. It's their original villages where they built their settlements on it. In all cases, I don't want to make things heavy, but what's going on in the indoctrination, since, imagine, do you know that since the 7th of October happened, I knew that I predict the scale and the brutality of the reaction. I knew.
How did you know?
I did because we experienced them on 5 wars only in Gaza. That superpower, instead of fighting like 7 armies before, 7 countries or 10 countries, now they are launching a war in a neighborhood, on a city. That superpower. They have the best technology, they have the best tanks, they have the best airplanes, they have the best army, they have the best weapons. They design weapons. Do you know when you have like 1 ton missile and throw it in a building, what do you expect? And you know that in a building there is at least 100, 150 people there. If a child happened to escape from that terror, what do you think will happen to him in all his life?
Yes.
What is that? What do you call it? I don't
Trauma.
know. I mean,
That's
the
what you call it.
indoctrination that happened in the Zionist community. They will tell them, as you were repeating now, they will tell them, they will kill you. If you don't kill them, they will kill you. Ben Gvir lately in the cabinet, he brought the cabinet. The cabinet is like ministers. They are ministers sitting there, and he wants to let the cabinet issue an order to let the soldiers kill children and women directly. Look, do you see on earth any government on earth that a democratic country on earth, and they said that we are in the international law, the cabinet will issue an order for their soldiers to kill women and children directly? That amount of if I don't know if listen, the cameras cannot reveal what's going on. You know, the camera will run after the event, the big events.
Yeah.
Anyone speak there, but they cannot show everything happening there. Believe me, when this battle ends, the people will know the horrible truth, the unprecedented truth, the unprecedented scale of brutality and crimes, you know, on that is going on in Gaza. I know. I call my people there. I call my family, and they cannot describe what's going on there. Back to the indoctrination of what you are of your question. You said they will never see us equal to them. That's not acceptable at all. They will never see that.
Okay,
Even
I think that is, if you talk about hope, then all we can hope for is that
well, I'll tell you
enough
about
people in Israel will see what's going on and will allow themselves to see what's going on. And that is, I think, the problem. Like, people cannot, they are in denial because they cannot cope with the truth, and because they are carrying a burden of trauma way back. It's not an excuse, but it's probably the reason. Now, you say you've been traumatized in the 67 war and everything that happened since. Have you found any way of dealing with that? Any way of, I mean, is forgiveness a possibility?
No doubt, no doubt. This is what we are doing now, what we are trying to. We agreed to go with the peace process. We agreed. I don't want to teach my children how to hate and how to look down at people. I want to teach them how to forgive and how to love and how to like. And I don't want them to see that amount of killing. We don't want to kill people. We don't want to kill populations. We don't want to do that. We want for the peace process. We agreed on the peace process, and everyone they don't want that. I'm looking for the war that Palestine will go back one country and we live all together. With the Jews,
and
of course, with the Jews, we have no problems. We are sent free from the Holocaust. We are sent free from those crimes. We are sent free from those wars that continued from 19 to 1944, killing millions of people. We didn't commit that. We didn't do that, and we will not. We can't do that. We don't have that mentality to do that. So what we are looking for now, we want peace, and we'd like to have not the peace process, no, the peace treaty, that we can love, we can share this land, that we can share life, and we can share. We gain back. We have back the ability to like and to love, and not to see all those scenes, and we don't want the killing, to kill the best of our men and the best of our women and children. We don't want to see that. So if we have a one country, it's lovely. If we have two states, it's nice. If we have a confederal state, it's, oh God, that's great. If we have a confederal state, we want peace, and that's all what we need. And of course we will forgive and try to go on with our lives. Palestine, we said, it's always have been like anyone enter Palestine is a Palestinian. Anyone, and there is enough resources and enough land for all of us to live there, and in peace and harmony and love, hopefully. But now, with the scenes that we are seeing, I can't.
It's unspeakable. It should be unbelievable, but unfortunately, it's the reality that we say this again. Thank you very much, Naser. I look forward to seeing you on the 13th of March. And we'll also have some conversations, and we'll also have some music, because people have to, there's lots of questions like, what can people do? But if you want to hear more about this, please come to the Barras Folk Club on the 13th of March, 8:30. And I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much.